My name is Lindsay Kinkade. I'm a recent graduate of the Master's in Fine Art program at the Rhode Island School of Design. I was in the graphic design department, but by the end of my time at RISD, as we call it, I was finding myself in a lot of other departments, which leads me to the class that I'm going to talk to you about today. I'm now a teacher at my school. This is a presentation about a recent class that I taught in the January session at our school. This is the title, which I won't try to read out loud to you, but I think you can read for yourself. It was a pretty exciting 6 weeks. The name of our class is Making It Understandable. This was one of the first classes at our school where we were talking about public policy and art and design all in the same setting. The people listed here are the people who helped us put this class together, starting with our U.S. senators, the lieutenant governor of our state, health insurance commissioner, and on down. This is a pretty radical thing for these people to come to an art school and say, let's work together. So I thought I should say a couple of words up front about the project that we're doing. I don't know how many of you know about the American healthcare system. Does anybody have a sense of how that system works? Yeah, it's pretty broken, actually. It doesn't work very well, it's insanely expensive, and a lot of Americans still do not have access to healthcare. So there is a new healthcare reform bill that is currently being it's being fought on Capitol Hill right now. Some people are trying to repeal it and so on. But we were trying to get our brains around, what does this reform bill mean? How is it going to affect Americans and their access to health insurance? And in particular, how is this going to affect artists and designers who run their own small shops? One of the pedagogical tools that I like to use is an open library. I create a system where each student checks out a book from the library and becomes the expert on that book. And then they put it back into the class shared space so that everyone can benefit from the knowledge that this person has selected from the library. This is based on an open source methodology that I like to use in the classroom to encourage students to collaborate with each other and share the work that they're making so that we can all progress faster. We had one of the most successful class blogs I have ever initiated. Every class blog I usually set up gets the 2 required posts, and then maybe one person posts one other thing. This had over 200 posts in 6 weeks, which was kind of amazing. Students did a survey of the web of visual material that was created about this law and other material related to visualization that we thought would be helpful to share within our group. So this is a way for all of us to keep up on one another's research as we were going. But first, we didn't know how to talk about healthcare. Most of us had been to the doctor and we had a very personal healthcare experience, but we had never talked about the system as a whole. So we started out defining these terms. Most of us had a little bit of a sense of some of them, but I'm not sure that everyone understood, say, preferred provider organization, but these are pretty standard terms in the healthcare system. So we started out making a visual glossary. This is turning out to be a really helpful tool as we communicate back with the senators and other politicians about how we can visualize healthcare for public engagement. Once we tried to put them all together on the wall, we realized that the system was much more complex than we had first imagined and that it's actually impossible to map in a 2D format. So we're hoping that this can become a resource that we can share back with the politicians to create further public engagement projects. But then we realized that the things we had made were quite flat. I think one of the things that's most exciting about art school is that we don't just have to make flat things. We have people in our class who are from departments as varied as industrial design, graphic design, textiles, film, animation, and video, and we had an art student from Brown University and a computational person from Brown. So we did a quick brainstorm about how we could get more dimensional. I think everyone had a couple of first thoughts, but once we started a collective brainstorm, I think we really got going in an exciting direction. This is one student's quick project. We just did this in a week as an exercise, so she used cut paper to visualize some survey results that we had generated. This student decided to use gummy bears to make graphics that were more interesting than others we had seen. I think each gummy bear represents one person in 100. On the left is a quick poster that one of the groups did to show just coverage in our sample group. But when I pushed them to come up with a dimensional way of looking at it, they came up with this 3D extrusion. You can kind of see on the bottom here. I don't fully understand this process, but they found a way of showing the data with another variable. So this is all in 1 week. Once we got going, we were starting to make assumptions about the work that we were doing, and we thought we were becoming experts, but we needed to have some outsiders come in and help us keep that in check because we wanted to be sure that we were correct. So we had some sketches and prototypes. I should say quickly, at the top right here is a quick rendering of a space that's at our university where we're hosting a symposium in March about healthcare and design. So we were specifically intending to make public engagement projects for this space. So a lot of the projects are very dimensional in that way. So we had a local newspaper reporter, we had a policy wonk, but then, I don't know if this happens in South Africa, in fact I'm quite sure it doesn't, I asked Laduma, but we had 2 snow days, which during a 6-week session is quite a lot. It's like this. And so I'll just show quickly the final projects because I'm running out of time. These are animated, but I had some technical issues, so. This is an illustration student. This is a woman who's interested in the Latino community. This is a model for an installation, a thing about nutrition. This one will have t-shirts on it that people can take away. And this one I think is particularly interesting. This is what happens when someone who is interested in jewelry comes into a class about healthcare reform. Right? Like, this is a pretty unorthodox combination. But she started to think that healthcare was actually a luxury in our country because that's how it seems like it's been treated so far. And so she actually gold-plated, she made a cast and gold-plated it. Everything on here that looks like it's gold is actually real gold. She has a rhinestone pill case and so on. I think this is the fanciest inhaler I've ever seen for asthma. We had some 3D things. And then this is our class at our final day of critique. Thank you very much.